lovely and darling viewers, it's Jen here at Check Her Joy, and this time I'm reviewing How We Bend the Light by C.J. Lamere. This also has an illustrator whose name I'm not even going to try to pronounce because I'm sure I'm going to butcher it. So both the author and illustrator are in the description below if you want to check them out. So this is a young adult fantasy story about two teenage boys who are in love and who discover illusions and magic, and their quest to find each other and be reunited. I received a free copy of this book from the author in exchange for a fair and honest review, so a disclaimer on the fact that I got this for free, for review purposes. So the prologue of this book sets it up to be a dream that the author had, and everything about it feels very dreamlike or very fairy tale-esque. There's definitely kind of this movable, changeable aspect to it, and that things aren't necessarily substantial and solidified, so there's definitely room for interpretation and kind of a go with the flow thing to it. So the entire feel of this is a little bit different. It's very whimsical, it's relaxing and interesting, but it's not what I normally would read. So this book follows two teenage boys, Michael and Jacob, and they are in love, and it's the summer, and they're just enjoying having time together. They've also discovered this island nearby that has illusions, and the boys have been exploring and experimenting with magic, basically. So they do live in a world where magic exists, and their parents are, I think, magicians, mages, and there's definitely an academy that the boys are trying to get into, so they are in a world where there is definitely a foundation of magic, and everybody knows that it exists, and they are just hoping that they can learn how to do it. These illusions that they found are, however, something a little bit different, and it's a kind of magic that there's not really anything to learn about, like nothing you can study, so the boys are just kind of winging it. So the illusions themselves are things that the boys are just pulling out of the wind, and they seem to have their own shapes and forms that they want to take, but they're also very changeable, and they can manipulate them and make them something else. So we'll see like a bird change into like a drawing, and it becomes like a tattoo, and then it comes out again and they can change it into something else. Later on we see them creating things. They can create the illusions of things that aren't really there. Things that have more interaction with the wind, since that seems to be where they're getting the illusions from, tend to be easier to do. So blades of grass swaying in the wind, or birds, or butterflies. So the island that the boys are hanging out at also has this air of mystery. Nobody in the town really goes to it much. It's not really a big tourist attraction. It's kind of left to do its own thing. It's got this very enchanted feel to it, kind of like the enchanted woods that you're not supposed to touch, except that it's, an island. And so we have this exploration not only of how magic works, but also of the island itself. A large part of this plot revolves around Jacob going to the island on his own to explore, and he ends up disappearing. So Michael just gets a text from him one night to, hide all the evidence of what they've been working on, and then nobody hears anything from Jacob. And everybody's focusing on Michael, because, they're a couple. Everybody knows that they're hanging out together. Their parents know, and there's all this pressure on Michael to, what were you guys doing? Do you know what happened? Why would he run away? So Michael is trying to piece together what happened to Jacob, and dealing with everybody paying attention to him, and these expectations, especially as, he's a teenager, and he's growing up, and he's supposed to, become this great mage and go to school. So this book is a novella. It's pretty short. It's 145 pages in the PDF that I read it from. It also had very large font and was well spaced out, and illustrations, so it's not a terribly long read. It definitely has this very airy, dreamlike feel to it. It has tons of really well thought out, developed world building going on, with descriptions of what these illusions look like and the places they're at. But at the same time, the characters themselves, Michael and Jacob, aren't really fully developed. We don't get too deep into them, and they also have this very insubstantial feel to them as characters, which is interesting. And the plot is also a little bit kind of airy to it also. So it's unique and it's different. I mostly enjoyed it, but at the same time I couldn't really form a strong emotional connection to the story or to the main characters. I didn't get too invested into the plot either. So I ended up giving this book 3 stars out of 5. Just because I liked it. I enjoyed reading it. It was very fun and light. Definitely feels light for some reason. I don't know if it's just the title that put it in my head, or the fact that they're dealing with illusions, or it's the wind illusion popping up over and over again. But it felt very insubstantial at times, especially when it comes to character development and descriptions. We don't really find out much about their lives outside of each other and the illusions that they're doing. We don't find out a lot about their families. It's not grounded in the way that I'm used to most books being. So it felt a little odd, and I didn't quite feel a strong connection to it. So that's why I got the 3 stars. Not that I didn't enjoy it and it wasn't well executed. It didn't resonate. It feels a little bit off and a little bit strange at the end of the day. So I'm really going to leave this up to you guys. If it sounds interesting, and hopefully I described enough of it that you can get a feel for what this book is like. I don't want to spoil too much of it. It's an experience more than a journey of trying to figure out. There is an aspect of trying to figure out what happened to Jacob and where he's gone, and trying to figure out how the illusions work, and is there something really sinister with the island. But at the same time, it's kind of you just float along. It's like being in a raft on like a river that's just like gentle current carrying you just slowly along, like you're just floating and like relaxing, and that's definitely the vibe I got from this. So there's my review for How We Bend the Light by C.J. Lamere. Let me know in the comments below if you have read this and what you thought of it. Are you thinking about reading it? Or do you know of any other stories that sound similar? Yeah. So peace out. I love you guys and keep reading. Bye.